Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video we're going to be talking about brush features. Like I promised in my previous video that I was going to make a video explaining about the features of brush, features like the size, the hardness, the opacity, the flow and the smoothing. Yeah, I'm actually here to do that in this video. But if you're new to this channel, first and foremost, I want you to please like, I want you to subscribe, and I want you to leave a comment after this video, as all of these things encourage me and they tell me that you like the content and I upload on a weekly basis. That being said, let's go right into it. We talk about size, you actually see size is self-explanatory. So for instance, the pixel here is 45 pixel. The size of the brush is measured in pixel, 45 pixel. So it means that when I apply my brush, it doesn't give me much effect because it is in 45 pixel. But when I increase the size of my brush to 136 pixel, you can see it can give me a larger effect, and the effect of my brush is more visible as opposed to when it was in 45 pixel. Okay, that's everything about the size. We're not going to waste too more time on that as it is self-explanatory. Now we talk about the hardness. Now the hardness of a brush gives you the ability to view three layers of a brush. First and foremost, the hardness is 100% here. So when I apply my brush, let me apply it, you can see that all you're seeing is just black, right? But now when I decide to reduce the hardness of my brush, it gives me the ability to see three distinctive layers of a brush, which is the shadow part of a brush, the highlight part of a brush, and the brightness part of a brush, right? So when I apply my brush now, haven't reduced the hardness, you can see it is totally different from this. Okay, so this dark place here, this totally dark place, is called the shadow part. Now this middle place that you can see that just like protruded from this shadow part is called the highlight. It is a little bit dark, you get, but this is the brighter side of this brush. So you can see three distinctive layers have been formed: the shadow, the highlight, and the brightness. When you reduce the hardness of the brush, it gives you the ability to see these three distinctive layers. Okay, so this is actually what most people use in creating shadows. And you just come here, and let's say I want to create a shadow, I reduce it to like 3%, and I just click once and I do little manipulations on this, place it under whatever I want to place it on, and that's how a shadow is created. Okay, that being said, let's move to opacity. Now for opacity, for you to understand opacity, I had to increase my hardness to 100% as it was before. Now this is what opacity does. First, when I apply my brush with hardness of 100% and opacity of 100%, if I reduce the opacity to, let's say, 38%, when I apply it, you can see that it is lighter than when it was in 100%. So opacity helps in hiding details of certain things. It might not necessarily be your brush, it might be a layer. So when you increase or decrease the opacity, when you increase opacity, the details of that image or the details of the brush in this aspect that we're dealing in is more pronounced. But when you reduce the opacity, it is hidden. So if I reduce the opacity to, let's say, 13, you can see it is more hidden. Okay, so that's what it is about. Now let's talk about flow. I have to increase the opacity to 100%, right? Now we talk about flow. First and foremost, I want you to understand something, that this brush is not just a normal brush. It is actually made of circles, right? So as you can see here, you can see this edge. The first edge here signifying the first circle. This is the second circle. This is the third circle, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh. So in this brush, we have 7 circles that formed this brush. Okay, but for you to actually see the flow, the progression in this brush is how the first circle moves to the second circle, to the third circle, to the fourth circle, till the 7th circle. You have to reduce the flow. All right, so when I reduce the flow to like 43% and I reapply it, I can now tell you distinctively the number of circles that we have in this brush. This is number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, and number 10. So we have 10 circles in this brush. This would not have been possible if the flow feature was not present. All right, so that's what the flow does. The flow gives you the ability to see the progression from one circle to another. All right, so now let's talk about the differences between hardness, flow, and opacity. Right, like we have here, we have a brush where the hardness has been reduced, we have a brush where the opacity has been reduced, and we have a brush where the flow has been reduced. Okay, so when you look at all of these things, three of them, you can see that they are actually distinct and they have three different, characteristics. For instance, like I said, the hardness will give you the ability to see three distinctive layers when it is reduced, while the opacity would actually hide the content of the brush. It will just like totally hide it if you keep reducing it. And then the flow helps you to see the progression from one circle to another. So if this brush was made of a flower, you would see the progression from one flower to another to another. It just helps you to see the progression. All right, so that's the difference between the three features. Now, that being said, let's move to our final feature, which is smoothing. Smoothing is something you have to really pay deep attention to, because if you don't pay deep attention to it, you just find out that you're doing a work and it's looking so rough, but you don't understand why it's rough. It's because the smoothing feature is not actually alright. Now, the smoothing of this brush has been set to 0%. I want you to watch carefully so you understand something. Smoothing has to do with edges of a brush. For instance, this brush has a smoothing of 0%. So when I apply this brush, this is what comes out. Okay, now look at the edges. You see how rough the edges are. Now when I increase the smoothing to, let's say, 55% and I apply it, you can see there's a huge difference. Now when I increase it to, let's say, 100%, this is what happens. Oh, you can see. So the effect of smoothing is not actually so visible, but it actually plays an important role in your brush usage, as you want to set the smoothing always at 100% to make sure that you don't have rough edges whenever you're painting with your brush. Alright, that being said, guys, we've come to the end of the video. I hope you now understand fully what the features of this brush mean and how they can be applied. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to leave a comment telling me what you liked about the video. If you still have questions about this brush usage, feel free, comment about it. I'm always there to answer. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.